Afternoon. Court does call the case, the people of Michigan versus Hunter William Fonville. Padre.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Ashley Lonnie for the people.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Michael Vincent on behalf of Hunter Fonville.
All right. Date and time set for sentencing in this matter. And I'm presuming the parties are ready to proceed. Mr. Vincent, just as to I understand that there are victim impact statements that are going to be made to the court, but as to the pre-sentence report, are there any material deletions, corrections, or additions?
None, Your Honor.
All right. And then, go ahead.
I've talked to the probation officer. I've talked with my client. I've talked with his mother. I've been doing this for a while. This is an excellent.
Yeah, when the dinosaurs started, yes, you have been.
This is an excellent report. One of the best reports I ever made that I've ever read. And I wish the court to adopt the recommendations as the probation officer has recommended. And I've discussed that both with this Bob and with my client.
Interesting. Ms. Lundy.
Your Honor, the court did reference that there would be victim impact statements. That is correct. I know Ms. Endler has had, I believe, some time to chat with both people who will be making statements today and may be able to identify for the court which order they wish to go in. If she would be so kind as to let us know. Other than that, there's no further comment from the people. Would ask the court to adopt the recommendation.
Your Honor, if I may speak.
Well, yes, go
I
ahead.
just forgot to. There is a civil lawsuit. Both parties each settled separately for $250,000. And I've shown that to Ms. Lundy.
Okay.
Two separate each.
Two separate.
Each party 250 for a total of $500,000.
When you're saying each party.
I'll help. So the victim in this matter, who was killed as a result of this crash,
Yes.
it was the driver of the vehicle also
Yes.
suffered injuries.
Oh.
That case had not been charged criminally. Mr. Vincent is indicating that each of those civil suits
It's settled.
settled each for $250,000.
Gotcha. Okay.
So whenever the court's ready for victim impact statements,
I'm ready. And who would like to go first?
I think Mr. Vivad was going to go first, Your Honor.
All right, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Yes. Hello, Judge, and everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Now, first of all, I appreciate giving me this chance and to speak here and hearing me out. I'm a husband of victim Aishwarya, and this is very deeply unfortunate moment for me to be presented to you in such a situation. To give background on me, I was very proud and well known and with my friends to drive carefully, follow every rules to something like this to happen to me. But that this doesn't happen to anyone in future. I wish the defendant, the driver from other car, he had followed some basic rules, not overspeed at intersection. And talking about intersection, I learned that the intersection where this happened is very famous for car crashes, and county did change the logic of how lights operate in that intersection. I wish they had done it previously. And
You're saying they changed how they've operated?
right, I think it was instead of blinking, they made it solid green. And because intersection, it is very hard to see if someone is overspeeding. There is not much visibility because how the roads are inclined. So
Okay.
yeah,
Sir, I'm going to do something a bit unusual. I will let you certainly give your statement to the court. But I think I want to meet with council and chambers, please, on this. Court's going to stand in recess. All right. And sir, I do apologize for interrupting your statement to the court. You may continue wherever you'd like. If you want to start again, that's fine with me.
Look, I can start from where I left, but thanks. And I think I mentioned that one aspect about the intersection I mentioned, and another major aspect was defendant was overspeeding. If he was at normal speed at 40, I had to pay for car, and I had not gone through this everything. But anyway, so and the major aspect is which I learned, he was under influence of marijuana, and that's unacceptable, because using that and mixing that with driving, it can hamper your reaction time, braking time. So I think it's a not even legal, it's a moral responsibility for someone to not mix these things and drive while you have any traces. And this nonchalant and ignorant behavior caused my wife to leave us. I cannot explain in words the loss we are all facing, her family, my family, and me. It is not definitely loss of just one life. We all are hampered by this, and I'm sure we cannot recover emotionally at all from this. But apart from emotional part, I got hampered physically as well. It kind of turned my life upside down. I'm still struggling to find meaning of all this, but yeah, I suffered from TBI, and I had no memory for a month. It took around half a year for me to learn to walk and talk normally and gain my memory. And I'm here in front of you right now is because of all the help doctors provided me. I'm still recovering. My one eye is crooked. You can see there's a sticker on one glass because I cannot see like normal. If I take out the glasses, if I see from both eyes, I see everything double. So hopefully that will get resolved. I'm going to have surgery after a few months. Hopefully I'll go on other side one day, and she will be happy to see me there, my wife. And I don't have to mention how bad this was for her family and my family. They could not be here with us to express themselves, but they highlighted me that no amount of compensation, no amount of punishment or any justice can resolve their pain, and hope defendant gets hold to high scrutiny of this court can offer. And I can keep on shouting all day for jail time, prison time, or any other punishment, but that's not going to bring back her, right? Or putting small fine for misdemeanor and allowing to continue with normal course of behavior is also not going to solve this. It's just going to invite more of this incident, recurrence of this thing. So I wish the defendant realizes his actions and the loss we are going through, and hope the final verdict takes into account right amount of jail probation time with drug checks, alcohol tests, everything. And they also have it with some kind of community service, so it helps people. So yeah, before coming to this country, you can see that we are not US nationals. We're coming from India. We came here for higher education, and we had a lot of dreams. And one day wanted to make this country home. We're looking here as a home. And this country, people, community, friends, they offered us a lot with both of the hands. And I have much gratitude for all the things they did for us. And she also had great time while studying as well. She was favorite student for her professor. She was leading all the initiative, all the teams. Um, she was working on forefront of technology, AI and machine learning. And it was a really great future for her. But all that was taken away from us in a flash. So why, I don't know. I'm still trying to find the answer. Only thing I can do right now is pray. And thanks for all your time and hearing me.
Thank you, sir. And who wanted to go next?
Yeah, she can go ahead.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I'm Yash. I'm Aishwarya's younger brother. Thank you for seeing us today. I'm really grateful for this opportunity. It's been a really hard time for me and my family losing Aishwarya in the car accident.
Sir, I don't mean to interrupt you. You're dropping in and out on me. I don't know if it's your microphone, and I want to make sure I hear everything you have to say.
Am I clear now?
Yeah, go ahead. Try it again. Let's see.
Yeah, so losing Aishwarya in a car accident was very unfortunate for me and my family. We are still trying to comprehend the full thing. Like, it's been a really hard time for us. I believe that she would be the last person to leave me, but now her absence has created a void that cannot be ever filled in my lifetime. I will always miss her guidance, love, and support. As an elder sister, she always provided me with her wisdom and always had my back in no matter what situation throughout my course of her life. And I hope that the court considers all of these things and come up with the right decision. And we really also hope that the defendant understands the consequences of his acts, how they made other people suffer, and how some things cannot be undone in life. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you both.
And nothing further from the people, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Benson.
The court's permission, Mr. Fodorov would like to say just a couple words.
Yes. He has the absolute right to allocate. Go ahead, sir.
I would just like to say I'm very sorry. I shouldn't have been smoking and drinking and driving, or not drinking, but smoking and driving. I'm just truly sorry. Didn't mean to do anything.
Benson, anything else you want to say?
We got to know Hunter and his family. That court knows I've had a lot of experience. He's one of the nicest, finest young men I've met. He has 2 jobs, works hard, he doesn't cause a problem. This is something, the only way to put it, tragedy all the way around. And I think Hunter will live with this the rest of his life. As I think the gentleman, the husband, will too. We've discussed time and all that, and essentially, I think both myself and the prosecutor, at least I, would leave it up to the court's judgment on this. And thank you for the time this court, and I've expressed this to my client and to his mother, has put into this case. And I do appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Benson. Let me first say to both families, and I cannot even imagine the loss. It, in some ways, for me, it's just beyond comprehension that one moment things are okay, the next moment they're not. And I say that about the victim's family, and on behalf of the court, let me just certainly, for what it's worth, express my condolences. But oddly, I'd also say that maybe it may seem odd. I'll explain why momentarily, but I also feel for the defendant. There is not a doubt in my mind as I read through the packet sent by the defense and the information received from my probation department that this young man, if he could do it over, would do it over. And if he could change things, he would. I've been dealing with these types of cases for the 20 plus years that I've been on the bench. And I will tell you, I dislike them probably more than any other type of case. And my reason for that is because typically in cases I can have someone on one side or the other, however one wants to describe it, as good or evil, that there's somebody bad in the case. And in some ways, although it sounds sort of strange, that makes it a little bit easier for the court. What is painful here is that I've got good people on both sides. People make mistakes in their lives, but good people. And the struggle that the court has in these instances, in these types of cases, especially involving a death, involving the use of automobiles, is trying to come to sort of the right decision. I appreciate the victim's family, for those that spoke, placing it in my judgment and showing faith in this court to do the right thing or to do the proper thing. Some judges won't say this, but that means the world to me. Whether one likes my decision or not, but people having that faith in the court, and like I said, it means a lot to me. I think, and victim in this case said it the best. And I'll put it in other ways. Judges, we always are looking to try to make something right. to the extent we can correct some injustice or in some way. These cases are hard in that I can't make it right because I can't bring her back. I can't make that family whole again. I wish, I guess, that with this robe, they would have that power, but I don't. And I know I don't. And I realize there's a limitation. What I also realize, though, is as I look at the defendant, that day, by his very reaction after what happened, and as I said, in most cases, I don't see that type of reaction for somebody that's been in a crash. He was, by all accounts I've been able to read, devastated. Interestingly enough, not because of what occurred, but he was so worried about the people in the other vehicle. To the point at times of not quite really being able to control himself and not fully, I guess, and now these are my words, but fully appreciating what had transpired, because in the concept of death is interesting in and of itself, but when you're at a young age, it's even more sort of foreign to one's thought, and to try to grapple with it and to understand it. And I don't have a problem imposing incarceration or doing some other type of sanction where it's appropriate in any given case. I just don't have a problem with it. This case creates a slightly different problem. And I want to try to lay it out as best I can. And in anything that I say, I want everyone to understand I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not saying anybody is at fault. I'm not saying anybody is because of what I'm about to say. And I'm not trying to change the dynamics of what has occurred. But I want to make sure that my decision is understood. Usually in these cases, I would have someone who I could clearly point at, typically the defendant, and say, but for what you did, this person would be alive. Then there are cases where there is a confluence of things that occur that really have led to the result. And it's easy to point at one thing and say that's the reason, or to point out another thing, or to have two things and to point at that and say that's the reason. And then sometimes, and many times it's the case, that if there is that there are all of these things that come together and this is what happens. I listened to the husband, as one would expect, he's grappling with why it occurred. And to a certain level, I have no way in which to answer that. And one of the things that he brought up about the operating a vehicle while under the influence, if that were, no, he shouldn't have been smoking marijuana or taking any type of drug and operating a motor vehicle. But if indeed that were the cause of this, we have a charge for that. And it wasn't charged because as I read all of the reports and everything, probably wouldn't have been sustained. So while that may be a factor, I don't see it in the levels that I see. I don't see it as a huge factor. It's just something that should not have occurred. There's also, just to address the other point of the speed of the vehicle. And I'd like everybody just to listen very carefully. And I understand, and I've combed through the reports, that as approaching the Packard Carpenter intersection going eastbound, that he's accelerating from that area to get through that intersection. I get it. I pass that intersection because of its proximity to the court, I'd almost say every day. So I get that intersection. And what I know, whether right or wrong, is that the behavior of the defendant in approaching the intersection in that fashion, where all of a sudden he has a green light in front of him, it's a straight shot through. And regrettably, one of the worst things anybody wants to do is to be caught at that intersection, because then I got to wait through all those lights. Now, I say that not to say that what he did was right, but to say that him traveling the way that he did and accelerating toward that intersection is at least understandable. Now, again, should he have been going that fast? No. But I can almost guarantee if I went out there right now, I'm going to have people not traveling exactly 45 or less. This doesn't happen there. That certainly doesn't excuse his behavior. But one of the things in the report that it brought up is, which is a true statement, that is speeding toward that intersection, that he forfeits his right of way to travel through that intersection. Now, I want everybody to listen real close to this. The very fact he may have forfeited his right of way does not by necessity mean that another had the right of way. And here's why. And again, I'm not saying this to blame anybody. I'm not, because things happen. In preparation for the sentencing, there was a video that was supplied to the court so I could view from one of the cameras in the area what had actually happened. Because of sort of the unusual nature, it was either going to happen one way or another way, but sort of to understand. The husband operating the vehicle that he and his wife were in did something, and he talked about how that intersection, how the light, how they changed the light. And I'm glad they have. They probably are other intersections that they really need to do that. Because had that been a steady rad, I this doesn't occur. He turns on a yellow flashing light. Many people don't understand what the rules of the road are in regard to that. Or typically, as I like to describe it to people when I'm handling other types of cases, those making the left turn are on the lowest priority of ever gaining the right of way if you're turning left. But in turning left on a flashing yellow, it doesn't mean one can go, and that they indeed themselves then gain the right of way. Because prior to making that turn, an individual has to do a number of things. They have to basically stop or yield. They have to properly signal. But here is the most important part. The most important part is that they have to observe and yield to anything coming in the opposite direction, which is within the intersection, not entirely the case here, or so close to the intersection as to constitute an immediate hazard. One thing that I noticed, and what I can surmise happened in the video, was as the vehicle was approaching to do a left-hand turn, it was in that intersection, or it was at that light, it stopped, the light turns green, there would be a momentary delay, he gets the yellow flashing arrow. Eastbound traffic starts to head from Ann Arbor to Ypsilanti, for those that may not be familiar, starts to head that way. There are a group of vehicles that leave that intersection and they clear the intersection. One question then that I can't answer, and it was a long time, is that the husband's vehicle waits at that intersection. It doesn't move. There is, when you look at the video, no eastbound traffic. It's clear. And he doesn't move. And it, understanding as you're watching it, that something is going to occur, it really does seem like he's there for an eternity. He's not there for an eternity, but he's there a very long time, not moving. And then at that point proceeds into the intersection, just moves out. I am not going to sit here and try to speculate why. I'm not going to say it was either because somebody behind him honked. I'm not going to say because sometimes we all do. He's at the intersection. We're just maybe not at that moment aware of the light. All of a sudden we realize that we can go and we just go. I don't know, and I'm not asking for the reason. I say that because in this court's mind, when entering that intersection, because the hazard that's coming at him is so close to the intersection, theoretically, at least in theory, he would have had to have yielded and could not make that left turn. Now, again, I want to be very clear. I'm not saying that to try to blame anybody. I am saying it to try to analyze, in essence, what should happen to this defendant. Remember what I said is usually in these cases, an individual has done something. I can attribute some harm based upon what that individual did. And that despite anything, had they not done what they did, we wouldn't have harm. I don't think that that's this case. And here's why. Had the defendant been traveling at 45 miles per hour or 50, it's a 45-mile-per-hour zone, but let's say that he's traveling at that speed instead of the excessive speed that he's traveling at 60. Maybe the primary question I'd ask is, would this collision have occurred? I really can't answer that except to say that when I do my math, if the left turning vehicle leaves, if he's traveling at a legal speed limit, that left turning vehicle leaves approximately 2 seconds after it did, we have the same result. Bottom line, folks. This is, as best I can put it, a true accident. Two vehicles did something at some point and they collided. The left turning vehicle, Mr. Bradby, if he waits and doesn't turn, we don't have it. If he initially takes off after that first wave of traffic clears, we don't have this. I'm not going to second guess him on that. I'm not going to attribute some blame to him on any of that. All I know is that this happened. I can't say that Mr. Fodrill is evil, that he set out to do things either in a fashion to hurt somebody or that he set out to do things in a reckless way not to do it. It's easy for me to sit here and second guess and say you should have done X, you should have done Y. Yes, I could say that to you, but I don't think that's how he started out. Nothing gives me an indication of that whatsoever. The grand result of that is that no matter what I did to him, what I would do to him, I could give him a year in jail. I don't think that that's anywhere near the punishment that this young man is putting himself through and the cross that he will bear, so to speak, for the rest of his life regarding what's happened. The object of a court is not to just pile on to that. I can't bring back your wife, sir. I can't make, in this court's opinion, him feel any worse. I can't make him understand any more what he did by anything, quite frankly, that I do. Bottom line is, I don't think either vehicle had the right of way to that intersection when this happened. Therefore, it is a sentence of the court. We're going to place you on the maximum probation term of 24 months. It's going to be fines and costs of $1,000, $750 probation oversight fees. When can that be paid? That is to be paid today. There is to be no use of alcohol, recreational marijuana, or illegal substance. You'll be subject to testing. And what I am going to do, I'm going to change the recommendation of the sentence. He will be tested every week at community corrections, starting immediately. Now, let me make clear as to why I'm changing that. As I'm listening to the decedent's husband, part of what he attributes this to is your use of marijuana and then driving. He may be right. I'm going to give you fair warning. I want no substances in your system. If it comes back with anything, Mr. Vincent will tell you he's been appeared before me forever, it seems. I will do what I need to do, and you can bank on this. You will bank on incarceration. Am I understood?
Yes, sir.
You are to complete a driver improvement course as directed by probation. I'm going to indicate that you are to complete, and I'm going to change the number of hours of community service. I'm doubling the amount that's been recommended. He's to complete 400 hours of community service with proof to probation. You're to maintain employment with proof to probation. The reason I gave the statement that I gave, in debating this and weighing this, don't believe that jail time serves a purpose in this case at this juncture. So it's a sense of the court. I'm going to order 365 days in jail. I am going to suspend that entire balance at this time. Understood? Thank you, folks.
Your Honor, one last thing, can we leave restitution open for 90 days? Before you need to make,
There's potential restitution.
there's potential. Your Honor.
Okay, very good. Restitution will remain open for a period of 90 days. Thank you, folks. And I hope everyone can find peace. 14A stands adjourned.
Thank you.